Oh, yeah. Well, maybe just clamp your mic on here. Turn it on, please. Thanks. Probably bring it down, it's not gonna pick up with that.
I think it'll be fine.
Okay. People in the back gotta hear you.
They can? Not too bad.
The whole back row.
That was the whole idea, Ronan.
On campus, they can't hear you either.
Yeah, can you pull up the presentation?
Yes. Here you go, sir. Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
No,
Simon,
there.
tell us what your priorities are.
Okay, so this is the presentation where we generally kick off the budget session with the council, and although the budget has already started within the city departments, but just to kick off the meeting with the council. So this is the presentation. My next couple of slides are basically going to talk about what is our budget process. We follow the Michigan Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act of 1968, which basically requires that the local units use activity-based budgeting. What this means is that you identify sources of revenue and budget accordingly, and identify the expenditures based on various activities. So generally meaning, salary, professional services, and contract services and things like that. Capital expenditures, maintenance activities. So revenues, generally we include revenues which are certain, reasonably assured. Anything that has some doubt or is not reasonably assured, we should not either include it, or if we include it, we should have a plan in place in case there is a reduction in revenue to reduce the expenditures accordingly, or we should have enough money in our fund balance to cater for the shortfall. As far as the budget process is concerned, city manager provides the basic information for the budget preparation. Department heads and directors prepare and submit budget estimates to finance. Finance then consolidates and reviews their budgets received from the department heads. City manager then reviews the budget and finalizes the budget, and then is recommended for presentation to the council. The city council reviews the city manager's recommended budget and proposed general appropriations act. This review also encompasses a public hearing. And then city council passes a general appropriation act, and the council amends the budget as necessary during the fiscal year. Now, the next is the budget calendar. So we started off our budget discussions within the City Hall in February, which is continuing in March. We are finalizing the budgets with different departments, working on various revenue studies, and finalizing the rates wherever they're applicable. City manager will review the final draft before it's get presented to the council. We will have 2 working sessions if required. First on April 8th next month, where the department heads would present their budgets. We will publish the notification in the local newspaper on April 11th. April 22nd would have the second work session if required. And then on April 22nd will be the first reading of the general appropriation ordinance. And then May 13 would be the public hearing and second reading of the ordinance, as well as final approval of the appropriation budget and the ordinance. I'm now going to cover a few highlights during the year as to, what major activities took place. We purchased a lot for subsequent construction of the new DPW building. We completed about 790 lead service line replacements during the year, which is quite a bit, more than double the cost, the requirement for the annual requirement from the state. This is basically because of all the grants that we have received for replacing the lead service lines. We also reconstructed Kniff from Joseph Compo to Gallagher, completed 2 Long Street resurfacing projects, completed 4 alleys throughout the city. We did 10 areas where water mains were replaced with grants of almost $25 million. Some of the work is still continuing and will be completed during the rest of the year. We received pension grant payments from MERS, 2 MERS from the state. We finalized 2 negotiations with our CBAs, one with the fire CBA and other with the police officers CBA. The Dickerson facilities tax revenue stopped in 2025. The city is in negotiation with Wayne County for its resumption. So that is still going on. Hopefully we'll have some conclusion before fiscal year 25 closes. We received over $43 million in grants from federal and state authorities. Some of the major ones are listed as follows. 2 pension grants, one for $16.4 million and the other one for $792,000. These 2 grants were paid directly to MERS. Then there is a FEMA grant for $9.962 million for sewer 1B relief project. Then there is a Brenda Lawrence grant for $5.8 million for lead service line replacements. This project is going to be starting, in the near future. MEDC grant for new DPW building. This is $2 million. Then another MEDC grant for Veterans Park parking area and access road for $2 million. Work on these 2 grants is will be started shortly. Then we received grant for $1.5 million for redoing some of our alleys. Again, work on these alleys will be starting soon. Last couple of meetings we had where we finalized the alleys that we are going to do as the first phase of this project. We did receive $1.4 million from MDOT for the Kniff Street reconstruction. $1 million tree grant from U.S. Forestry Services, $800,000 for the fire engine grant, $653,000 for Veterans Park restroom restoration. This project is also going to start. And then the grant for alley and parking lot behind the City Hall, $260,000. Now, areas of focus in fiscal year 2026. We continue to replace the lead service lines, and we plan to do another 800-900 lines next year. We will continue various resurfacing projects in the city. We'll continue to replace alleys. As I just mentioned, we have the grant of $1.5 million, so we utilize that in replacing 9 alleys, which is the first phase of the alley replacement. We'll continue with our water main replacement projects, complete revamp of the alley and parking lot behind City Hall. We are hoping that this project will be completed in the next 4 or 5 months. We look for additional grant for another fire engine. We need to replace 2 of our engines. One, we have already received the grant, or we have got the approval of the grant, and we finalized the engine replacement with the vendor. And we are going to look for another one for the replacement of the second engine. We continue to pursue more grants for replacement of various city infrastructure. There's a lot of, need in the city, which would run into hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure replacements, both in water and sewer, as well as roads. We also continue to pursue grants for alleys, which are very difficult to get. Focus on this year is going to be on deep cleaning and televising of city sewers to alleviate the flooding issues in some of the areas. Our sewers have been neglected for more than 70 years. So there's a lot of, buildage in the sewers. Some of the sewers are more than half covered with mud and gunk. So there is a need to, clean up the sewers, which will help us a lot, and also it will help us in determining, the condition of our sewer system. We hope to complete 2 other CBA negotiations, one with the Police Command Officers Association and the other one with the ASME. The ASME is going to be finishing up by June this year, so we would be looking forward to trying to get that wrapped up. This slide I've left blank basically to have a discussion with the council on some of the priorities that they feel that we should address in our budget, and so I'll leave the floor open for the council to kind of talk about it. Some of the areas that you feel that I've not covered that we should look into.
It's just the budget overview we do every year.
Anyway. You're good.
Okay, all right. So, my last slide. Okay, we will be utilizing some of the fund balance for the activities that will continue during the year, which get completed in the next fiscal year. So there is always a, changeover of the fund balance because of that. The city needs, as I mentioned earlier, sustained investment in its infrastructure for the next 30 years. So we are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So we would need to continue to source grants for these infrastructure projects, especially in the water and sewer area. Our water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure is more than 100 years old, or at least 100 years old. So we don't want to be in the same situation that Detroit saw itself, just a month back with the flooding and all. So we will need to be aggressive in this area. We need to, like I said, we need to apply for grants as much as possible to address some of these issues and some of these projects. If we cannot find the grants, then the other alternate would be to raise debt for these projects. So we'll have to go for bonding of some of these projects.
You guys want to take a few minute break before, if there's no questions, you want to take a few minute breaks before the meeting starts?
Yeah, you can cut it
Shut down
off.
everything?
Even the mayor is not here, we'll listen to council. Just. Thanks, Amir.